Meeting of the Amherst Township Trustees is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Abraham?
Here.
Lynch?
Here.
Urick?
Yes.
And Kish is present. I have the meeting minutes from the February 27th, 2024 regular meeting of the Amherst Township Trustees. The meeting was called to order at 7:02 p.m. by Lynch. Pledge to the flag. Roll call. Abraham, Lynch, Urick, and Kish were present. Also in attendance, M. Orozco, G. Lynch, C. Nyhart, K. Smarsh, and S. D'Ambrosio. 2/12/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick, to approve the February 13th, 2024 regular meeting minutes as presented. Roll call. Lynch and Urick were ayes. Abraham abstained. 12/13/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick. Move to approve the financial reports and payment of items on the payment listing as presented. All ayes. 12/14/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick. Move to approve that the January 2024 credit card account transaction detail has been reviewed per policy and is accepted as presented, subject to investigation. All ayes. Fiscal Officer Kish reported that the envelope from Amherst Township for the 200th bicentennial time capsule has been turned in. Also, the Fiscal Officer will be completing the 2024 permanent appropriations for the March 12th, 2024 meeting. There were no audience concerns. Under correspondence, 12/15/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick, a motion to complete real property tax exemption and remission for parcel number 05-00-064-000-054 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5709.10. All ayes. Trustee Urick reported that in speaking with Don Romanchik regarding the stormwater fee for parcel number 05-00-056-000017, there is a form to fill out for a credit or reduction. Don provided the form and Trustee Urick will complete the form. 2/16/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick, moved for approval of Lorain County Engineer Middle Ridge Road intersection street lighting upgrade and safety improvement plan, Lorain County Cooperative Agreement to upgrade from HBS to LED lights, and Ohio Edison LED street lighting agreement to upgrade 5 Middle Ridge Road intersection lights. All ayes. Received information regarding the Lorain County Engineer 2024 Chip and Seal bid program. A resolution is due by April 1st, 2024, so that would be needed by the second meeting in March. Lorain County Public Health District Advisory Committee meeting is at 6 p.m. on Thursday, March 28th, 2024 at New Russia Township Lodge. We received correspondence from Bram Hall Engineering regarding a resurfacing and widening project on North Ridge Road from State Route 58 to the Corp line near Oberlin Avenue near the City of Lorain Corporation limit. Under reports for ambulance, the board meeting of the Sandstone Ambulance District on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024, 4 p.m. at the Amherst Fire Station. Under zoning, Zoning Inspector D'Ambrosio reported year-to-date 4 total permits, 1 new construction and 3 accessory buildings, and he's working on handling complaints. Under Fire Inspector Nyhart reported that he is still working on fire inspections throughout the township. It's food truck season, and a reminder that they need to register and to have an inspection. The forms are available on the township website. Under Roads, Parks, and Cemeteries, Road Superintendent Smarsh reported that they are working on potholes and regular township maintenance. Some cemetery work was taken care of, working on the park lights on the trail. There is a situation going on regarding the area of chip and seal that was done last year, which could impact this year's costs. 2/17/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Abraham, moved for township road improvement and maintenance equipment purchase, a 2024 Mack GR 42F truck with Glen Hill snowplow package and other miscellaneous options identified in the attached quotation. Total quoted cost of $216,270.25. Lynch and Abraham were ayes and Urick was a no. Under complaints, they are being handled by the designated individual. 2/18/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick, a conversation of 10 Amherst Township Middle Ridge Road Park trail lights from 150-watt metal halide to LED lighting. All ayes. Trustee Urick noted that we have been working on 3 street lights since last June that have been out with no resolution. Now we have a 4th. He has set up a meeting with Nick
Castaros.
Thank you, from First Energy to try to get this resolved. Trustee Urick also noted that he has received a cost estimate of $4,900 for a new streetlight at Old Middle Ridge and Dewey Road. A discussion ensued regarding these costs. Under new business, 2/19/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Abraham, support of Get-Go number 3572 Amherst Township, ODOT variance request for direct access along State Route 58. Lynch and Abraham, ayes. Urick, no. The next regularly scheduled meeting will be Tuesday, March 12, 2024, at 7 p.m. at the Amherst Township Hall. 2/20/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick, move to enter into executive session at 8:50 p.m. according to ORC Sections 121.22G8 to discuss negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance. All ayes. 2/21/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick, move to return from executive session at 9:30 p.m. All ayes. 2/22/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick, to adjourn at 9:30 p.m. Roll call. All ayes.
Are there any changes or corrections of the February 27th meeting minutes?
I have none.
I have none.
Can I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
I second that motion.
Urick,
Yes.
Abraham,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Okey-dokey. Under financials, you have the payment listing, which is pretty boilerplate for monthly bills. There was a payment in there for Butchko for the repair of a wall plate. Is that what it was called?
Outside center.
Yes. And that is what I had put in for the Moore grant, for that 1,000. So I haven't heard back yet on that. And then there was the Barnes Nursery, which was 18,600, and that was,
Yard waste grinding.
so those were the two that you might have questions on.
You're right. So now we don't have any questions.
Now you don't have any questions. That's my goal. So our year-to-date revenue is $176,345.68. Need that
How
again,
much?
David?
Yes.
$176,345.68. And our expenditures are $219,821.92.
Did we get property tax disbursement?
We have not.
We have not.
No, we have not received that yet. Could be any day. It's usually around the 20th of.
We hope so, but I still remember the year it was late April. So
Right, and and who knows now with this ACH?
should be faster. It's
You would think.
electronic, right?
You would think.
Or they could do it later.
You would think. Or they could do it later, you're right.
It'll be fast, but it'll be later.
That concludes my
We have to do
financials.
the appropriations.
We're
Well,
going to after we approve these.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions on the financial report?
No.
Okay.
Then I'll
I'll
make a
make-
motion. Go ahead, David.
I was gonna make a motion to pay the bills with reservations and accept the financial reports as presented.
I'll second.
Yurick,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Abraham.
Yes.
And when you're ready, then, Chris, you can go to the budget.
Okay, so now we have you have the resolution for permanent appropriations per Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.38, that are due to the auditor by the first day of April. And David, I made that correction in the actual one that will go to, it picked up $12 instead of 12.
Yeah, and there was no way I could change that,
Yeah.
Chris, ahead of time. They had that programmed in. It was all protected.
Right,
I
it was,
tried to.
but I've changed it in the Excel form that I need to send to them.
Okay.
This one says March 12th.
It's on the second page. Up at the top, it says $12 instead of 12.
Yeah, they just had that formatting in there, David, and you couldn't change it electronically before this resolution was prepared. I tried multiple times.
Oh,
Even tried to save it as a different file name and said the heck with it. But
well, there's your computers.
okay, just, and For the trustees' benefit, there's no major changes in the budget this year because with what we've seen between the CARES money and ARPA money has really positioned us well in terms of getting our equipment turnover and replacement. And predominantly we're talking the road crews. So they're in good shape now. No longer is Kevin going to worry when he's got both trucks down in the middle of a storm and he's trying to get things repaired because of everyone, making the roads safer. And so we've now got a backup vehicle there. We've got the replacement on the backhoe. We've got the smaller truck, which can have with the potential of plow, so we can have someone without a CDL take care of the cul-de-sacs and the minor roads without running a backhoe down there. So it's we're in pretty good shape right now, so for a few more years. So that manna from heaven was greatly appreciated, even though I disagree with it showing up. And then the stormwater, obviously, Linda's got a preview, which appears to be good news, but nothing final yet. She's turned in 2 grants for projects that Kevin has, and the individual that she's working with indicated he believes they're approved, but we need someone to say they are. So, obviously we can adjust this later, and Chris can once we know those funds are available. And just cross your fingers, say a prayer, because that really helps, and we appreciate the work you guys did in getting that in. So those are the only comments I have on the budget. Okay, so if there's no question, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the permanent annual appropriation measure for 2024 per Ohio Revised Code section 5705.38. I'm not going to read the rest of this. It's all prepared and printed for you.
Second.
Good. Lynch?
Yes.
Euring?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
The number, Chris?
3324.
3.
Okay, was there anything else, Chris?
Nope.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone in attendance. Is there anything anyone has to bring before the trustees? Seeing no hands, we'll move on. Correspondence, and I left this under correspondence on the property tax for a couple of parcels. The first one, which just ends in the 054, we did have the, I forget the name of the document, but that's all been taken care of and sent to the auditor. Chris, actually, I don't know if you hand walked it over or mailed it to them. So now we just need the auditor and the treasurer to weigh in on it. I believe they got to send it to, in this case, Amherst Exempted Village School District. But I don't think anybody's going to complain about that particular one because this is definitely strictly public purpose and we shouldn't be paying property taxes on it. The other one is where, if we listen to the minutes, and we'll have David comment on it, is trying to get the credit on the stormwater fee on this particular parcel that the township hall sits on, because we went through the extra step, putting in the detention basin. I mean, we did all the pre-construction, post-construction stormwater management. Then we had to figure out what to do with the skimmer that we'd never use again. Couldn't even give the darn thing away. But so as far as we're concerned, we should get a credit. But David, I'm going to ask, as you're working on that, since there's an actual form to use, and I know it's quite detailed in the work that has to go through, but if you notice, we just spent $18,000 on yard waste grinding.
Yeah.
$18,000. Well, that's on the property across the street, which is a different parcel. We're paying over $600 a year and a stormwater fee for that. To me, that should qualify also for the exemption or the credit, because if we don't take care of that yard waste, where does it usually end up? All those leaves, I mean, Kevin, how often are you cleaning out catch basin? Then you guys run down there, even with the grass, any storm, you're clearing everything off so we don't get the roads flooding up, knowing the storm's coming. So by getting this off and up there, It's not being put in the backyards, it's not putting into the drainage ditches, it's not going into the rear yard drains. It's coming up here, and if they don't bring it here, we expect mulch it up yourself, or since we don't have curbside pickup, put it in the trash. So to me, David, you got a valid argument for that one also.
We'll check into that one also. Still working on it,
Okay.
but it's in the process. I'll let
Okay.
you know that.
Well, I just want to let you know about this so that we can capture them both at the same time.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, let me write this down.
All right, and the next item is just a reminder, Denny, with the Lorraine County Public Health District Advisory Council meeting on March 28th at New Russia Township Lodge. And I don't know, David, did you have any correspondence?
I have nothing to bring forward at this
Denny?
time.
No.
Okay, and anything else I have, we're not going to cover here because it's turned out to be an agenda item with the resolution. So we'll move on to reports. Ambulance, Denny?
Nothing under ambulance, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, you're right. The next, they do have the next meeting is scheduled. It's May 12th, and I did verify with Brandon. That is at 4:00 p.m.
Okay, you're going to it?
So I'm planning on it also, but we
Okay.
now have 2 reps. Every community has the 2 reps on there.
All right.
Okay. The sheriff's not here. I'm surprised Sam's not here, so I'll cover the zoning. The first one, if you look in your packet, you have a prepared resolution that's authorization to enter into a memorandum of understanding for construction of 3 model homes in the 4 Seasons at Sandstone subdivision. I'm going to make this motion to bring it on the floor. I have a second.
Second.
Okay, let me explain what's going on here, and this came through several areas. Is I actually heard the first time from Sam that he just felt like he was being asked to do something that he didn't think he should, in issuing a permit for lots that weren't platted yet. Bob Kleiber then called me with the same issue, because Sam couldn't give me the details. I don't think he had all the information, but he just said someone said this was always done, and who knows, maybe it was at one time. Bob insisted, hey, don't give that up, I don't think you can, we're waiting for the plat. And so then I asked Bob, can you send something to me, an email, because I'm hearing all this chatter about this, but I don't have the specifics, and I certainly didn't want to start initiating a communication where I wasn't directly involved in it. So that email you have here, the whole email string, that's what Bob did. So then I took that, sent it to Linda and Sam, who tend to be the first face that the public is seeing, and let everybody know so we're all on the same page. But I did let them know that Township is not opposed to issuing a limited number of, allowing a limited number of home constructions, not necessarily issuing a permit, but as long as all entities agree. So, we don't want to be running afoul of county planning, we don't, or, the county engineer or anybody else. So then, subsequent to that, there was a proposed MOU, which you have a copy here. I sent that over to Greg Peltz in the prosecutor's office, and Greg passed it on to Lee Prue, who's also in the prosecutor's office, because she has more expertise in the real estate realm. And Lee reviewed this. She didn't see any problem with it. The County Board of Commissioners need to sign it also. Lee did indicate she'd be sending me a confirming email on that, and because I had told her I wanted it by last Friday so I could get things prepared for tonight. I didn't receive that confirming email, so I sent a response back to Lee that based upon our phone conversation of this morning, it's okay for Amherst Township Board of Trustees to approve the attached MOU. Action will be required by Lorraine County Commissioners. So there's still another check on this. Just even if we approved it, I don't want someone to think that it's a done deal, but I really don't see the commissioners having any issue with it. And then just to put the second catch, just in the event, since Lee never sent me that final confirming email, the way the resolution reads said the chairman of the Amherst Township Board of Trustees, Neil Lynch, is authorized to sign the attached MOU upon review and advisement by Lorraine County prosecutor. So if Lee comes through and says, hey, you got to make a change, she'll get the new one. I'll go ahead and sign whatever that is, just so that you're aware if she thinks there's any change needed here. I mean, that's really up to Lee. The only thing I might ask, but it's, again, I'm leaving this up to Lee here, is at the beginning, the very first paragraph, it talks about everything is Sandstone 1 LLC, and it's just on the signature page, though, as Amherst Consolidated Properties LLC. No, you know, so it's almost like there's a conflict there, but I think that's minor, because either way, it's the same people signing it. But I'm just going by the prosecutor's determination. But I hope everyone understands all it is to make things easy to do business. And the main check that the zoning inspector will have, this is only limited to 3 model homes. It's the expectation, they aren't connected to the sanitary sewer. They can't do that till they get a permit. They can't get a zoning permit till they show that they also got the permit to connect the sanitary sewer. So this just gives the developer a chance to get started with the current weather instead of just holding them up, because we're saying, nope, you got to get that plat done, and they can't get the sewer permit till the plat's done, and we say you can't get a zoning permit till you got the sewer permit, so you got all these sequential things going on, and that's not the way you typically try to do business. If you can do something concurrently, you do it concurrently. That's all this is doing for a limit of 3 model homes. So with that, and I did see Tom Oster and John Evanson are here, which are the interested developers. And I'm glad they are here. I wasn't aware of that, but if you have any questions of them, you can ask directly. So I'll just open it up for Dave and Denny if there's any questions on this.
I have no question.
My feeling is that permits should be issued for lots, once the lots are established. And the lots won't be established until the subdivision is platted. Therefore, I feel we should wait till the subdivision is platted.
Okay, and that's fine to have that opinion, David. I just want you to know, I went to one of the classes down at the OTA Winter Conference this year, and it was called, Is Your Township Open for Business? And it was interesting. This is exactly what they're talking about. You know, not to have this where you force people in this long, drawn-out process, you know, and you and I have had discussion in the past. I always laugh about the one time I tell a story where you got on me and got so upset that, you know, you're acting too much like an engineer. You put down a project, you put down milestones, you say, we got to hit this date. And I was looking at you and I didn't understand it because you were talking like it was a negative. It just confused me. But this is exactly what that is. Nobody's getting away with anything. This is just making it easy to do business. So if there's no other discussion, Chris, roll call.
Did we have a second?
Denny said.
Yeah, the
Denny?
second.
Okay, thank you. I didn't have that. Lynch?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Urick?
No.
The number, Chris?
3-4-24.
Okay, the next item, and you'll see that they have the layout up there right now of the development, and if you look on the eastern half there is for the single-family homes. We're looking at, right now, 262 homes. You know, that could change a little bit. If it changes at all, it would go down, but right now the expectation is 262 homes. If you go to the west, you're talking about 193 single-family homes. In the north is the Redwood multifamily, which is 205 homes. Well, as part of the settlement agreement, there was a park and rec fee that was included in that settlement. And we weren't sure exactly what the final number would be. The settlement agreement just says, well, it'll be over $125,000 from all these units based on the per unit fee that would be made available. But realize there were two different fees. The one was if for the single family would be $250 a unit, which is shown up here. For multifamily would be $100 a unit. But at that time, we weren't sure which way it was going because the settlement agreement said if we end up with multifamily rental age targeted, it'd be private streets. If it's single family, then the township is responsible for the road. So we couldn't give it an exact number. Well, now that we're getting more information, it's a little easier to forecast what that park and rec fee will be. And so the best estimate right now, it's actually going to be just a little over $134,000. Now, the question is, how do you account for that park and rec fee? And so, Georgianne, do you have the draft for the proposed zoning permit? And you guys have it in your packet here. Okay. What was proposed was that we make a zoning permit just for the sandstone development. And if you scroll down, and this hasn't been finalized yet because there's still work between the zoning inspector and the township administrator, and they may want to discuss how they might make things easier. Do they want one of these filled out, a little sketch on every single lot? Is there a way to do them in groups? And attach these things. I don't know even, or ideally would be to have this in a database, but we aren't there. So the best we would do is probably just a spreadsheet or potentially turn this form over to the developer so they can electronically do everything and do them as a group versus a lot of writing and printing by somebody. But if you see the highlighted area there, it separates out a township park and rec fee, so it shows $250 if it's in the Four Seasons or Sandstone Mill area, $100 if it's in the Redwood area, and then the square footage has to be calculated by the zoning inspector. I'll leave that up to them, but I would prefer they put that back to the developer, say, you already know what it is, fill it in. I'll check and, make sure you're honest, say okay, but again, just to make the whole process easier. But then it has to work with our fiscal officer because now we need to show this goes to the general fund, this holds to a park and rec fee, and that brings up another whole question which I need a fellow trustee to agree to here. My preference is we keep this park and rec fee separate from our just normal property tax collection, so it's not just used for regular park maintenance. So mowing grass, weed control, leaf pickup, picking up fallen trees, trimming trees.
That would be my sentiment exactly, Neil.
Okay.
I don't think...
Oh, good, then I've got a second. So okay, Chris, that's what I told you at first, and unless one of these guys agreed, I couldn't presume it's going to happen. Okay, well, David, the next thing is how we do that. I had asked Chris if it was possible to set up a separate fund so we could see it. And Chris, I'm going to let you, since you've talked with the state as far as what we can and can't do on this. And you've got paperwork in front of you with her notes.
Paperwork with my notes. You cannot set up a fund for, basically this is internal township funds, not county funds or state funds. Number one was the first thing they said. There's no need to create a fund to hold these dollars because they are a short-term, not a levy, not tax dollars that are ongoing. So their suggestion was to set something up in the general fund for specific purposes under Parks and Rec. And that is what you have in front of you, that there is a revenues fund that is set up for, not fund, an account for special assessments for Sandstone/Redwood Park, where dollars will come in and also where dollars will go out, and you will be able to track them.
It makes it easy because we can see it versus just a sub-account
You can-
number.
But it's in the general fund.
It's in the general
And-
fund.
On the fund summaries, it will always show up under general fund.
Correct,
There
but
won't
if
be
you-
anything under the park.
If you
In
want to
order-
see where we are, I
or
could
we'll
pull
have to-
this up.
We'll have to get a specific detail report.
Yeah, and unfortunately, David, she doesn't have any choice. I mean, ideally, we would have preferred a separate fund, but, it
Yes.
just can't be done that. So this is a way to do it, so, whether it's new equipment, whether it's adding lighting somewhere, whether it's additional park property purchase, if that comes, obviously, you're not going to get a whole lot at, 134,000, but,
Right.
it gives us that flexibility, and yet
Maybe
still
be able
keeps
to partner
us.
with a grant. Maybe be able to go to the NRM.
Exactly, and,
And you could double or triple that.
Yeah.
Then you would have something.
okay, well, just
But anyway,
as long as you understand that Chris can't create a separate fund, but she can put a sub-account in there
yeah.
to
And it has
capture
its own
this.
cost center, so it can be monitored.
Yeah, it's not something I
Neil?
want just hanging out with everything else.
Neil,
Um,
over here.
You've got existing use of property on this form? This is vacant RAG, I believe some of that's GB1. Vacant RAG, vacant GB1.
Yeah, and that's probably a good point, David, but the GB1 doesn't give you anything for a park and rec fee. The park and rec fee was strictly in the settlement agreement associated with housing.
That was under the old zoning, and then the settlement agreement made it a PDD, and the PDD shows it's something else. Now it shows it's residential. The residential is now in the GB district. Well, or a portion of it.
Oh, yeah, but it doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. You say, what is the existing use? Residential agriculture. Well,
Tell
if
me
you
what-
wanna, if you just wanna say use, you can just say agriculture. And that's just use. It's not zoning. Existing use of property, you've got the existing zoning class. And if you're gonna do the existing, RAG is a zoning, is a zone, it's not a.
So what are you saying? What do you want this to say, David?
I guess, what do you guys want it to say?
What's wrong with what it says?
Existing use, well, it's agriculture, not RAG, that's the existing zone. It doesn't say existing zone of property, it says, and even if it said that, it would be a
We've always
PDD.
put down zoning.
Huh?
We always put RAG,
I know,
GB,
I'm
or
just,
R1 or R2.
yeah.
One existing, or the prior zonings were GB and,
Is there something you want different in there? Because it's always going to be the same.
just put
We'll
agriculture.
put whatever you
down.
want in there, David, as long as it's not something that's
Just
derogatory.
put agriculture, just put agriculture down there.
You hear that, Georgianne? Yeah. Okay. Again, it's
It's
still in
use, it's
draft.
not zone, or prior use, or prior zone,
Okay.
that's what it is.
There any other concerns?
No, that was it, it just jumped out at me, and I thought, well, that's not right.
All right, well, that doesn't require any type of resolution at this point. That's just information for the trustees. The only thing we needed to know was that you agreed with holding that money separate for something that's not routine maintenance for Parks and Rec. So, and Chris has now told us the only way we can do that. So we'll move on. The other thing is I was hoping Sam was here to report this, but on March 5th, the Zoning Commission did approve the site plan for the Giant Eagle Get-Go Market and Cafe at the intersection of State Route 58 and North Ridge. And can you bring that document up, Morgan? Okay, in particular, the map portion first. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have an electronic version that Giant Eagle had presented. I should have asked them to leave us a copy of that. When they were here for the site plan review, they had what they've given all of us in paper format, electronic. But what I do have is the overhead here for the location. And there were several items that were brought up during the preliminary site plan review, and Giant Eagle addressed every one of those and did provide them. I mean, if you look through the details of their plans, I mean, I can't say anything negative. Whatever we asked, they provided. And then, since this is in our JED area, and we say in our JED that we'll coordinate with the city of Amherst and any type of zoning, and also that we'll try and keep it to the best zoning of non-residential, I went over and met with City of Amherst Mayor Mark Costello to discuss this, and to make sure they had their input of anything they needed prior to the site plan review for the final. And based on his comments and some other, after I saw the updated view, I put together a document and forwarded on to Giant Eagle so that they were prepared when they came to the meeting. I did not want them to be surprised here. It gets frustrating when they show up at these meetings and it's almost like some people like a gotcha question, and it can't be answered, which then just delays the process, and we got to set another meeting, and now another 30 days elapse. So what they did do, they added all the additional landscaping that was requested by the zoning commission during the preliminary site plan review. A lot of it was around signage, some of it protecting the residents in the city of Amherst, because this particular area is on three sides the city of Amherst. So it's Amherst Township, like a big thumb sticking into the city. So they did add all that landscaping. They also adjusted the stonework on the rear of the building, since we were hoping that we got the additional flat area to the east of the two parcels fronting 58, that our hope is, since it's still zoned agricultural, we put the whole area in the JED, not knowing exactly what the future use would be, but expecting that there was a potential for commercial development there, something softer in terms of administrative or professional type offices is what's preferred. We actually would have preferred it for that whole section, but you've got to go with where the market takes you. But they did in the back now, the rear face matches the front. So all that stonework's going to be much more architecturally pleasing. And I know we had Tom Bodie, our new architect, for the first time. This was his first site plan review, and a lot of it he gave positive comments, and he did have some questions with Giant Eagle, which they addressed. We asked for the fire hydrant addition, which is going to be, and I don't know if you can put your pointer there about where it is. Yep, so they added the fire hydrant there for the added safety protection if there ever is a fire call in the area. We don't have to be dragging hoses across any street. The mayor wanted a fence to protect it. What you can't see, unfortunately, since I don't have the Giant Eagle site plan, the way they intended on exiting on the 58, during the evening, their lights would be spotlighting some of the housing there. So the mayor asked if a fence could be put up. Giant Eagles agreed to a 6-foot-high vinyl fence just to the south of the property as additional screening for the city of residents. So realize there's going to be a white fence along the property line. And they've got almost 100 feet of buffer area there. They've left, if you see the treed area, the dark area, those are existing trees. There's only one in that group coming out. Then they're planting it, and there's a 3-foot mound there. I mean, you can't ask for anything more as far as what they're doing here. They do expect this to be a 24/7 business operation, but again, they said that's going to be dictated by what their experience is in this area. They do still have access to the sledding hill. Can you show where the sledding hill is? That's where the big, roughly 30-foot drop is that, you know, it seems people are really attached to that in their memories in this area. If you're reading social media, they said they aren't going to put any interference there. They're not going to prevent people there. They're not using it. They're not going to actively police it as long as you don't block the dumpster so that the trucks can get in or any other traffic routes. But they could not give tacit approval to use that sledding hill because they said they have to respect the other property owner. They don't own the property. So it's just essentially what they told us was, we won't police it, we won't stop you, but we aren't saying giving you permission. And that's going to address another topic we're going to bring up later. We did mention the jet again. I just want to reinforce with them formally, which they're aware of in that area. I did try to get financial information from them earlier, and some of it for the jet revenue, they did not want to disclose. Obviously, they had the projections of what they expect for the business profit there. They had the projections of what their total sales would be, which is sales tax going to the county. But that's information that corporate did not want to divulge. What they did divulge is that they expect a minimum of 30 employees equivalent to 16 full-time positions. I didn't ask the exact, and they didn't volunteer, but I'm sure if you go to Sheets down the road or any other Giant Eagle, it's going to be comparable as far as what they're paying. They've got they do plan on putting in electric charging stations in the future. I don't recall the number. I think it's 6 of them that'll be on the northern parcel there. So as they expect the market to transition over where we'll see more electric vehicles. Since they plan on people stopping here and staying here, they're going to have inside and outside seating that you plug in the car while you're in spending their money at the Giant Eagle Get-Go. One of the other questions that the mayor had, they want to know what the impact is on the Get-Go on Kresge Drive, which is just a Get-Go. You know, there's some cigarettes and little snack, prepackaged snacks and whatnot, but it's not a market like this one where they intend on having fresh produce. They're going to have people in there make to order. You order on a kiosk as you come in. They prepare it right there. They said they have no intention of closing that Get-Go. They look at State Route 2 as a divider line between 2 separate markets. And so this is targeted at a different market. They think both of these are going to continue the way they are. There is a car wash plan for the future, though they haven't made a commitment for it. Obviously, since they were almost forced into getting both parcels because of a decision by ODOT back in 2015, they didn't want all this land. They only wanted the northern parcel. But ODOT at the time refused full access to State Route 58, so that killed the whole deal. Giant Eagle walked. But ODOT did give them in writing if they got both parcels and moved the access drive to the south, they would approve it. So now Giant Eagle comes back 9 years later. They bought both parcels from the county. I'm sure the county's happy. But ODOT says they've recategorized State Route 2, and as these trustees are aware, we had at the last meeting, Giant Eagle asked if we'd give a letter of support as they're appealing this to ODOT, is they want full access at 58. And though it's not guaranteed they walk, but there's a good chance if they don't get it, they're done. They're leaving. And if they leave, they just change the market value of that property. Because now any prospective buyer knows they don't have full access on 58. So it kind of weakens, in this case, it's actually the Port Authority that owns those properties. It weakens their negotiating position. And, you might be able to split it up with 2 smaller businesses. Maybe you bring something in just off North Ridge, but you do it significantly devalues that particular property. So I'm hopeful that ODOT sees things differently, and as we've shown, they intend on having their full access match up with where the Rite Aid store is that has full access just to the west already. And both of those access points are a much farther distance from the intersection than Tuffy, Muffler, or Northwest Bank, that are on the northwest and northeast corners. So everyone else has full access. It seems, how do you deny it to this one corner? And yet you allow it at the other three.
Some
So
of those properties, O'Neill, are grandfathered in, and as you know, the specifications have changed, and if they were being built now, they wouldn't be allowed to have access to 58 either.
Well, that
It's
may be
just-
good logic, David. I grew up in a family of 9 kids. And I can tell you that if you gave one child permission to drive and you denied it from the others, the younger one that came up, once they turned that driving age, they would say, how come they can do it and I can't? I know that's a kid argument, but I think it holds more logic than yours is, because there hasn't been an increase in crash data. They aren't providing anything to say there will be an increase in crash data here or increase in traffic. If you really think about it, where's the biggest choke point along 58 as far as traffic right now? Where is it?
Probably Route 2.
And what's down there? What's causing that? Where do the majority go? Where is it where they get down Kresge? That's where the backup. Thank you, David. I was hoping you'd lead right there. And where are they going when they go in there? What is the biggest draw on that road?
Aldi's.
And what's the other? Well, okay, Aldi's. It's one of them. I shop at both. But it's food, isn't it? I don't care if it's Cheyenne Eagle or Aldi's, it's food. And the other thing is gas. And what are they going to provide here?
Rolaids?
Food and gas. Where do I go to get my free 30 gallons because of my gas perks? I drive down all the way to the get-go down at Giant Eagle. You know what? I ain't driving down there anymore. So that might actually reduce the impact and the crash data there. So, you know, I would have no problem sitting before anyone at ODOT and want them to show me the logic of how did you change this. My gosh, I just drove through Westlake today. Every corner I'm looking at, that they've got full access at much shorter distance than this is all along Route 20. So I don't see how we deny it. Do you also have, Georgianne, the spreadsheet there for the financials for this that shows the property values? Okay, thank you. I think you guys have those in your packet?
No.
Yeah, I don't either. I must have missed that. Okay, if you look at this, there was a question of what does this mean in the way of property taxes? Well, it's difficult to do, and I've gotten 2 different things from Giant Eagle, so I'm not sure which one is correct. They had talked about a $1.8 million purchase price, and they're talking about, now the 2 different items I've received, the 1.8's been the same, but at one time, and I think it was either at the site plan review, they said $3 million construction, but I've got a text from them saying 3.6. So I don't know what it is, but in any case, you're talking around $5 million of improvement in market value on that. Now, if you look at what the auditor has for comparable locations, the most comparable is the one on Midway Boulevard. That's a real get-go market and cafe. So you can go over there and see something similar on a much smaller lot. Not going to have as much as this get-go does, but it's the most similar. The Pure gas station was shown because that just went in our township recently. That's at Middle Ridge and State Route 58. You also have the Sheet station in Sheffield and the one that just went in Amherst. They're going to be similar. So I don't know if because of the transition from developer to business, if the auditor hasn't caught up with some of these, because if you look at a sale price on one of those Sheets businesses, it's significantly higher than what the auditor is showing as full market value. I'm sure in the next time the auditor goes through to update things that they're probably going to see a much larger property tax bill. But if you take what Giant Eagle believes they're going to spend there today, is you can see the property tax going to Amherst schools is at $57,000. Let's say that even if we're half of that, this is one business on one corner going to our schools. Albeit now the township, obviously, what we get is almost 8 cents of the dollar. So, you know, our input isn't that much, but at the same time, I get over $7,000 for one business on property tax. Oh, but wait, there's more. Must be selling mattresses up here, pans. This is in our JED. So those 30 employees are paying income tax, and Giant Eagle, which is a very profitable business, is paying income taxes on the profits that they're going to make. So I know, David, you feel differently, but I certainly want to see this business in because the county's had this for sale for some time. My preference would have been for a professional office building, but obviously that hasn't shown up here. So at this point, this is the old bird in the hand, and that's why I would suggest we continue to support this as Giant Eagle asks for our support. So I don't know if there's any more questions. I just want to present you guys
I don't have
with
any more questions.
with the information that we have here as far as that site plan review, and this information was reviewed with the zoning commission also as they went through this site plan review. Nothing at the BZA, and we'll be coming back to this later, but I want to get to Kevin since this is the order on the agenda. We're going to move to roads, parks, and cemetery, Kevin.
Everything's good in the cemeteries, parks, roads. We just been on potholes and ditch cleaning, did some 300 feet of sewer jetting, and talked with Cliff today again after we'd spoke.
This is workshop players. So
Yes,
everyone-
I
okay.
gave him the complete update because they are going to, here in 2 weeks, they're going to start getting some stuff going on. But he had seen the lights that were fixed. I gave him the whole, rundown again. Called Charlie to see if there was an update on the LEDs and if they were in. He didn't get back with me, but that was towards the end of the day, so I'll expect something. Then they might be in as well.
But it'll make that much nicer for the people coming through there. We should be better off now because with the time change, the people that are
Later.
going to workshop players, hopefully it's still light out. But by the time the theater ends, till we get middle of summer, it's still going to be dark when they go back. Okay.
But that's all I have.
Okay.
Got a question for you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Do you find we have more potholes this year because it's been hanging around freezing more?
No,
We're not having a lot of more potholes.
not more. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we still have them, and it's winter
It's
time.
not that bad.
No,
It
not.
hasn't been as bad as it could have been.
We saved. What saves it a lot too is the plowing. You're not running over, scraping so much. But when you get the damp and the rain gets in there and the freezes, and then it kind of brings it up, then the cars run it over and spread it out further. It still has the damage being done, but non-plowing saves it a lot. But they're still there.
So it's not any worse than, I just wondered because even though it's been milder, we have had mornings below freezing, and it's that freezing and thawing that really rips up the road. If it got cold and stayed cold for 6 months, then you wouldn't have the trouble, but it doesn't. You have warm
Right.
days, cold days, warm days, cold days. When it warms up, it melts, water gets in, then it freezes when it
Yeah,
temperature
it's
goes below
been
freezing, and then you start chipping and,
a decent year for them. Been good.
okay, well, that's good.
Okay, well, we do have two items under roads here is, the first one, and both of these are for two road projects going in that must be publicly bid. that we did receive some grant funding for, and Linda's been working on getting, and she's actually put out to you guys to show, I don't know if you work with Sean on that, Linda, or put it together yourself as far as the public bidding notice.
I just
But-
copied them from previous ones.
Okay. So Sean asked you to do the fill-in, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, and I sent him a copy also for him to
Good, have them check.
check it
Good.
over.
Okay, so the first one is I'm going to make the motion authorizing the bid for the Middle Ridge Road TR 32 resurfacing project from Brownhelm Township line to the existing pavement joint at Quarry Road.
Second.
And again, this is, Linda's already prepared the document. If you just look at it, let her know if everything's okay. But if Sean says it's okay, Linda, go with it. We're looking at, I think I put it in here, you had that for the April 23rd meeting at 7:30 for the bid opening.
That's correct.
And just for a refresher for the trustees, the total project on this is just under $159,000. 51% of that will be grant money, from OPWC. And of that grant money, we're going to have, let me back up, it's 51% will be grant, 23% will be loan, 26% will be Amherst Township funds. So what we're going to have to dig in is going to be, again, we got to wait till we see the bid, but we're probably talking somewhere between $40,000 to $45,000 of township funds coming out of the road fund. So if there's no questions, we got a first and a second, so Chris?
Lynch?
Yes.
Urick?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes. And that is
3-5, I believe, correct?
25.
So Linda, you're good to go on that one.
Okay, give me a moment, 1 second.
We're only on a little break here. I have a question for John Evanson. Now, just a quick question. Do you know, when are they going to start the western portion of the Sandstone Parkway?
Well, thanks for using the microphone so we don't get screamed at
Just a
from the
quick,
people in the
short
room.
question.
Right now, I spoke with Bob Kleiber recently. What they've done is they've captured all the numbers and the plans that they required, and they've been back and forth with the engineer for quite some time. But I would say that thing goes out to bid in about 30 to 40 days, and then they'll issue it 45 days after that. So I'd say 3 months from today is probably pretty good.
So sometime in June, July?
Yeah, they want to get it kicked off, and they want that road in before they hit the winter conditions this year.
That's just what I wondered. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Okay, the next item is, I'm going to make a motion to, this is authorization to bid the Moss Canyon Concrete Replacement Project. This is 242 feet of full-width roadway between the addresses of 843 and 851.
Second.
Again, this is just a little over $126,000 is the estimate. Only 5.8% will be grant funds, 18.2% loan, 76%, so just under $100,000 will be township funds. But good news is, and hats off to Linda and Kevin, we got something. And something is better than nothing. Very, very few. As a matter of fact, I think this is the only one that's been approved in our district for a small road project like this. But the reason is because they've got point scoring, and you got to meet these criteria, is one, taking out a loan and what percentage of loan you take. The other thing is how much you commit, how much skin you have in the game. This one, we almost gave our right arm and left leg to get it. But a little bit of something is better than nothing. And we've been turned down many times, and we pay 100% of it. So if there's no other questions, Chris, roll call.
Lynch?
Yes.
Urick?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
3-6.
Yes, sir.
Keeping track there, Denny.
3, 6, 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that night then we'll have 2 bid openings.
Right.
We'll have both projects are going to be open.
Yeah, and we'll just mention they're both coming open in the sequence that they're going in case any of the, businesses show up as they sometimes do.
And I'll have 2 separate sheets then.
Yes.
For the bids.
Yep. Yeah, and I assume that you'll be working with Sean as far as they come in and pick up bid packages.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to parks. Morgan, if you can bring up the overhead again of the Golden Acres site. Okay, with the Golden Acres, as we've been working with Get-Go, we were always hoping that we could eventually get a portion of this property to become open space in a park. And again, there's more than just saying open space. I hear too many people say, I don't want any building, I don't want any construction, I want open space. What good is it if you don't have access to it? I know it's good for the deer, and it might be good for salamanders and some toads and frogs and other things, and those are all nice. But it's even nicer if people can use it. It'll be a real asset to our community and an asset to Amherst. It'll also bring all those levy dollars that everybody pays to the Metro Park, something back to us locally. Now, Metro Parks does a great job. They get great support, but the vast majority of the area they have, you got to drive to use it. If you look at, I've used all the Metro Parks trails, whether it was walking the dogs, whether it's biking, just going out walking, when our kids were younger, taking them fishing and walking along there. But when I look at the one over here at Beaver Creek, city of Amherst, if you look at the density of usage, that's got to be the most used park of all of them. You will be hard pressed, unless it's a blustery cold day, to go over on that trail and not find somebody. I've ridden these other trails and I'll ride for miles before I come across the person. And it's usually only where there's right there direct access. You look at this, you see that you've got the what's called the Richland Heights development there in the southwest. You've got Rock Creek Run up to the north. And what's off, you see the division there towards the right of the page is the Pinehurst development in Amherst Township. So what, in looking at this, it was like, we've got a JED. Our JED agreement says we will support development and zoning to the maximum potential of economic development. If you look at the cleared area where you don't see any trees, that area there, it's roughly, between 5 and 6 acres, roughly flat land, where the Golden Acres home used to be. And then there was a little outbuilding, and those have all been torn down, which probably really increased the value. Because I know that the county at one time, they were trying to give this away because it had so many difficulties, or at least give it on the cheap. But what probably helped, even with Giant Eagle's interest, is once that problem building was taken down, and keep in mind there was at one time the proposal was to be a drug rehab center also, a necessary thing, but the voters turned down the levy. I can tell you, as far as an individual trustee, I'm glad they did, because as I always keep asking, how much money does the township earn from that property today? None, zero. Had this been a drug rehab facility, how much will we earn? Zero. So here we'd have something, what we put in as a JED, we worked so hard with Amherst, Amherst supported it, we come together to do it, and we almost had this thing deep sixth where it would return zero. So no money to the schools, no money to the township, no money to mental health, no money to children's services. These are all important services. So in looking at this, we learned from the Giant Eagle thing when we're asking for access back there that they can't give us permission to come through their property for access. The key for them is getting to that sledding hill, but it's beyond that sledding hill. We're looking at it to also use the full 20 acres there that could put recreational trails there for people to use. And if you go just to the north, and whether people want to consider this the Budnar Farm or Marilyn Jenny property, there's 10.5 acres to the north here. And that goes up to, I believe it's Amherst Village Manufactured Home Park. There's 150 manufactured homes up there right now on North Dewey Road. But that land, and Marilyn Jenny was a wonderful supporter of metro parks. And it's probably the main reason they agreed to take land that nobody's using. We got some open space, but nobody's using it. They don't have access to it. And if we can get the metro parks to take the land in here with the steep slopes, with the nice stream coming in, the east branch of Beaver Creek, there's also a stream coming in from the east over there, which is one of the drainage courses for Hidden Valley Drive, or I'm sorry, Hidden Valley Subdivision. They both meet here. They then go under a 20 by 15 culvert on North Ridge. The ideal thing would be if we could get an underpass there for the walking trail. No guarantee we can, because what's spurring this right now, there's been people have talked about trying to get this parkland for years. And I will support that. What I won't support is taking what's really potential economic development and putting that in parkland. It's whether, if we can get the economic development in parkland both and something that benefits all of us. Well, what spurred this was when the city of Amherst engineer, Bramhall Engineering, sent us, if you remember at our previous meeting, they plan on resurfacing North Ridge there. And they wanted us to make sure we had no problems with it, and also that we can coordinate any other road projects we have. Well, as we're noodling around as how to use this on a park, they also are putting in a turn lane. Why are they putting in a turn lane? Well, here there's a proposal for 174 townhomes on North Dewey. And if you drive down there, you'll see what used to be a wooded area just to the south of Route 2. The woods have all been taken down. And that's where they intend on putting that 174 townhomes. Again, just like the Giant Eagle may walk because they don't get ODOT access, that developer may walk because of the extended amount of time trying to get approvals to put in their development there. And some other conditions that, different individuals feel are necessary. But I can tell you this turn lane, based on the traffic studies, because I did discuss this with the mayor, is that the traffic studies don't justify the turn lane, but they're able to get additional private dollars to leverage into grant funds just to try and help get their project approved. And then also the concern that their council have, well, maybe not this, but there could be other development that brings more traffic, and this will improve safety. So that's why the turn lane is put in. My concern was I saw them moving all the guardrails. To get the turn lane, they got to bring everything to the south and our area, which was right in the area I thought there'd be the trails. And so it's like, and they've got to shore up that slope and possibly put some fill in there. So it's like, can we do this all at once? It's like, with this timing, with Amherst resurfacing this, putting in a turn lane, potential this other development, is we've got to start talking if we want any of this conserved and available for people to actually use. Well, it was in that discussion I found out the developers even agreed to tie in Rock Creek Run with a bridge, private dollars, crossing the east branch of Beaver Creek. That would tie all of Rock Creek Run into this if we can pull it together. But as we move further, everything outlined in yellow is owned by, it showed the ownership of Lorraine County Port Authority. But now if you go to the south over here, there's another over acre there. That shows the Board of Commissioners. I only talked with one Board of Commissioner that, hey, why is this showing Board of Commissioners when you got everything else in the Port Authority? He just assumes it must have been a mistake. We don't know what happened, but that acreage is owned by, shows the Board of Commissioners owning it. Then if you go further south, there's more acreage. It's owned by the city of Amherst. And that's probably way back when Richland Heights was put in, so this is years ago. But it's not being used. And again, there's some steep slopes that come right off that cul-de-sac. It backs up to the cul-de-sac. Guess what? There's another potential entry point, but it will need some work. This property presents challenges to actually use, but I'm telling you, it's those challenges that make it more appealing to the public that will use it if we can get it in there. And for those that, I can tell you there's salamander down there, because when my son was young, I took him down there so that, because he wanted to go down, he knew what time the salamander come out and the salamander mate, so he wanted to go down to the creek and dig up leaves and find salamanders. I also know that fish run up here, nice fish if you get it the right time. And it's just a beautiful, nice area. So we now got between the Board of Commissioners, Lorraine County Port Authority, the City of Amherst, and Amherst Township, and the potential of, if this developer can pull this off, some private dollars, and if we get this other flat area developed, working with them, that can potentially improve the value of this overall area.
Now, Neil,
Yep.
you're missing one thing, and that
I'm
is
sure I'm missing
that-
a lot of things, David.
But that contains a lot of stream bed, and that would give you public control over a drainage course, and that would be a positive. If there's a problem down there, it would be easier to get access than it would be if it was a private individual. And if you have any cleaning or obstruction removal, you don't have to go get an easement.
I hope Metro Parks is that public individual.
It could fit into, stormwater.
It could, David. And then you see the two parcels on Dewey? That's a total of about 10 acres there. The thinking, there's no sewers. There's sewers up on North Ridge, but there's no sewers to these 10 acres.
You see that little strip that crosses those two parcels? That little,
Where, the strip where?
on the north side, see from Dewey Road, there's a strip that goes both ways, parallel to North Ridge.
I'm not sure where you're talking about, David. Parallel to North Ridge.
Right here.
Oh, yeah.
You know what that is?
That's part of the Metro Parks.
Well, you know what that is? That strip?
The old railroad bed?
Not just, no. It's the old
Okay, give me the answer, David. I give up.
It's the old interurban. It wasn't railroad, it was interurban. You said railroad, almost. It was
Okay.
Interurban. That was the
Tomato,
old-
tomato. Either way, it's owned by the Metro Parks now.
Yeah,
That's
now it
about
is, but that's a little
All
anecdote
right.
there. That's remnants of the old interurban.
All right, I appreciate that. You diverted my attention. You did very well. You must have been a linebacker, knew how to get someone to lose their cool so they create a foul and get a flag thrown. But if we go back to the 10 acres down here, you notice the flood zone is all in red. There's no flood zone in here. This is all nice wooded area. The expectation is that that would end up being residential, but probably just large lots, because it is really would be very expensive to get sewers there. You can't bring them from the Amherst sewer because you'd have to cross Beaver Creek. You can't get it from Lorraine sewers because you'd have to cross that other tributary that goes up there, plus the long distance. If you know where the pump station is off of Moss Canyon there, or Oak Knoll there. Great place to walk your dog if you're in the middle of your walk. But in any case, those parcels could either be private on the front or in a good portion going to the Metro Parks. What I would propose, though, and I had discussion with one commissioner, but he didn't have a picture. There was no map to discuss it at that time. He had called for something else, and I started mentioning this, that we'd like to do something, and I think at that time that wasn't his focus, but it wasn't a nay. I did talk with another commissioner about this, And I would hope that we could have discussions with the Port Authority, just as we ran into at Giant Eagle. I would prefer that those lots or parcels not be sold unless we're assured of access to the parkland, which I hope it becomes parkland. Because if we start putting up all these things getting parceled off and sold to private ownership, we lose access. So I did ask Commissioner, I wasn't even sure where to start. I talked with Amherst first because we had to with the site plan review and then the issue with the road resurfacing. And if they were supportive, and I can tell you the mayor is very supportive, that then you have an ally and we go the next step. And the commissioner said you should talk with the Port Authority, which we will, but because they own everything in yellow, but the commissioners own that acreage down below, and then we got the city of Amherst owns additional acreage. But if there's no objection, or if you guys have other ideas, we're open to those ideas. Oh, and there's which is now Bonefish, the software, more like cybersecurity and fraud type software, is the old Children's Rehab Center. The potential is if we can get access there. And if you look, they've actually already named what they call their little trailhead, and there are some, trails, but it's just where people walk through, predominantly those that are over there with that business. But, hopefully we can work with them if they see the benefit overall of interconnecting that. So if there's no objections, there's multiple entities involved here. You'll see there's a write-up here with some discussion about it. I'm sure when we get the right heads together, it's going to be better once you get more people together talking about things. It's just amazing when you're working with a group how you can improve things in just the discussion. So if there's no objection, I do want to at least start having conversations between the Port Authority and the Metro Parks. And again, there's not a whole lot we can do other than ask because we don't own the property. It's in our township for most of it, and portions in the city of Amherst, but we can at least go ask. So I don't know if there's any other comments, David?
No, I have no comments. I'm supportive of it.
Okay.
And I would support it also.
Thanks, Denny. Okay, then we'll move on. Senior Services Township Administrator, Linda Ashley.
Morgan and I have been working on a lot of grants. The stormwater mini grant that you had said before, the chloride reduction grant, and the Lorraine County Public Health grant. The chloride reduction was for the salt shed. The park grant was for the distance mile markers. They were both awarded at the end of February, and we've not heard anything, so my assumption is we did not get either of those. Morgan and I are working on spreadsheets with Sam.
Yes, Linda, before you move on, do you have a contact to follow up and just ask them what you might be able to do next time, assuming there is a next time?
Yes, I will be doing that.
Okay.
The Lorraine County Public Health one, I'm not going to contact because they said straight out that it was first-time recipients or first-time applicants would get first priority.
Okay.
So if they had enough money left after everybody applied for the first time, they would award it to others that had already received it at one other time. So we also do have the cemetery grant that's coming up that I'm working with Kevin on. That has to be filed by June 30th.
Okay.
That's $2,500. We're working with Sam on spreadsheets for commercial business costs, working on existing business registration. Sam currently has come up with 154 businesses within the township. That does not include home occupation businesses or businesses run out of the home. He did find quite a few that should be operating under a conditional use that aren't, because without having a registration of some sort and keeping track of them, we don't know who's moving in and out. And when Chris Nyhart goes out, he does determine that they're a new business, but he doesn't know what's conditional use. So we're trying to remedy that for the future so that we at least have better control over who's coming in so that we can make sure that they're either permitted or conditional use. We're outlining the steps too for the zoning process to try to get Tom Horseman on board with us so that we can get everything to start with zoning and to end with zoning. Because currently people are going to Tom Horseman, who's issuing permits and things, and then Sam has to do zoning permits after. So we're just trying to come up with a process of making it easier. It'll be streamlined, and it will be so we can keep better track, really. But all this takes time, of course.
Yeah.
Spreadsheets, spreadsheets, spreadsheets.
For part-time employees, right?
Yeah. And then I'm reviewing the CDL driving policy that I had started in December. Georgianne gave it to me. I just haven't had time to really sit down and go over it. They did just the occupational therapy from Mercy that we do our drug testing through. Just sent out a whole flyer on the drug testing and the rules for marijuana use. So I'm going to have to make sure that whatever I have in my policy is what's on board with what they're saying. So that's going to take a little bit of time. And we're also working on addresses for Sandstone,
Yeah, okay.
all 500 or whatever they are. So we're
About
busy.
670
Yeah,
eventually.
how many ever? Well, we've already done 205 for Redwood,
Okay.
so we're good with that. And you can see those are all our Redwood plans over there that they have to come in. We're trying to figure out an easy way to get it to Chris so that she knows what the payments are for, especially if they're going to come in bunches. So we're trying to work through all that. My other question is that I had my hand up for earlier was, would it be easier or would you prefer if on Sam's spreadsheet that we do, like the fence permits and all that you get every month, if we add a column for the park fees, so that you would know each
Oh,
month how much
That
is
would be
coming in?
nice.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would be nice.
Then you would have an idea,
Yeah.
and then it could be a running total for the year, just like what we do for the other things.
Yeah, because the summary, the report, financial reports Chris provides us
Mm-hmm.
aren't going to have the sub-account. She can get that if we ask for it,
Right.
which, she
It might be
sometimes does
easier if
during
you have it
budget.
right
Yeah,
in
that
your-
sounds good.
right on your sheets.
Yep.
Okay, we'll make sure we do that. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Anything for Linda?
No?
Need something else to do?
No. We do have a list that's very long that we are trying to get to for all the other tasks, but
But and you're doing the right thing, you know which ones you can't do them all, so you got them prioritized and,
and we have deadlines on things, so, and like you said, with the mini grants, we're trying to get that firmed up. Matt responded today. Did he respond today? No. He responded Thursday, I think it was, that he was going to talk to Don Thursday or
Okay.
Friday. I sent him the email this morning, and I know you saw it, asking where are they, and I've not heard from him.
Yeah, and since you're on the stormwater, I haven't pushed on the other grants, which would also adjust our budget that we've already been approved, but there's still the easements thing.
Yes.
I kept doing those reminders and poking to say, where is it, but same thing I've got now between getting the jet expansion information done, and now this potential,
I get it.
yeah. So
Put it
they're in
on
the
the
works.
list.
It's not, all I'd be doing is saying, hey, what's going on? We're waiting on this, and,
Right.
and we need to plan for it, because we got to pay our match, too. So we always have to recognize that as we're budgeting. Don't forget, we've got these others hanging out there, but we got to wait till we get the final, easements and approval, so we know the timing. You had
And
a
right now, it's a
question?
busy time with the OPWC for the bids and going out and all that stuff too, so.
Okay. Thanks, Linda. Are there any other questions?
No.
Great. Move on to the complaints, and several of these are Sam, who's not here. David, the one for the added light pole at Old Meadow Ridge, can I take that
I
off?
still have to reach out for that person, so
Okay.
when I reach out, then we take it off.
Okay.
And that's my period at the end of the sentence.
Okay. And,
My apology.
and haven't already addressed the one for workshop players. I'll just leave it there till the project's done. And then, David, did you want to address the street lights with Ohio
Yes.
Edison?
I was able to meet with Ohio Edison, Nicosaurus, and one engineer, Natalie, and one of the
Oh, you got
line
to meet
people.
her, huh? Okay.
Yes, yes. And we were able to look at the lights, look at the situation. The light at the corner of Cobblestone and Hidden Valley Drive is accessed from a pole in back of the residences on the east side of Hidden Valley Drive. However, the pole there has been braced, and they are not able to have an individual climb the pole for safety. They don't climb braced poles, so they would have to get a bucket in there, and it'd be very difficult to get a bucket into that area. They could access through the park, but it's set back maybe 20 feet from into the property. The poles are. Their recommendation would be to just install a new street light at the corner of, at the northwest corner of Cobblestone and Hidden Valley Drive, and do a feed down Cobblestone from a pole to the light. That would do away with having to go through a backyard to access a line. The only possible issue with that would be, it would be out of line with the other streetlights on Hidden Valley Drive. Something you can consider. There's another light, and they were going to replace the photocell again, and that's at the end of Hidden Valley Drive at Oak Knoll. And the line feeding that accesses from the backyard of a house. It goes down the property lines to the back property line, and then takes a right and goes to a pole. In order to access the line on that light, they would have to go through a fence, a yard, and it's quite a mess. One of the things would be move that light also, but that light would be moved to the southeast corner of Hidden Valley and Oak Knoll, another person's yard. Third light was at the corner of Deepwood and Rosedale. Again, a backyard feed. Their recommendation would be to move it from, at this point, it's on the northeast portion of the intersection, move it to the southeast portion, and then do a feed from a service line down the road right away. That would be theirs. The overlying, how shall I say, theory that I can give from Ohio Edison is they're wanting to change the access to the lights from backyard to the road right away to right away access, a phrase of access, because stands to access lines for those lights, they have to go into a backyard, and many times they are fenced in. And
accessory
trees
buildings,
and
swimming pools.
everything, yes, yes. So that's where it stands now. A little bit concerned about the aesthetics on some of those. Still taking that under consideration, but that's where it stands at this time. Anything more you want to ask, Brad, Neil?
I don't, other than David, it's just stay on top of it, and I'll defer to whatever you decide, because
Yeah.
I see both points in this. No matter what, somebody's going to be unhappy, but we got to get those lights repaired.
Yeah. And I could, you know, like I say, I can understand redoing the access to an extent, but still, it's got to be functional. It's gotta be-
Well, at least you got more details of what's going on, because when we got
We have, and I hope that the
email that
people
everything was
understand
taken
it.
care of, it wasn't taken care of. So, okay.
Anyway,
Good. Thank you.
that's it right now with those.
right? The other one, Sam also, so there's no need to address those. I've had no personal contact with Sam on an update. All right, with the other items that are just open with assigned responsibility, is there any item that needs to be addressed?
No, I was just add under solid waste that the policy committee met today, and we were advised that final approval was received from the EPA for the plan update. So that was good, and they were happy about that. Got all kinds of flying colors from the EPA on that. That's about it. The next meeting will be, I believe, May 14th will be the next policy committee meeting. And, May 18th is, Saturday, May 18th is Lorraine County Beautiful Day. We want to do anything. I don't know if we have anything lined up or any ideas of anything we could do, but if we would like to, that's what it is.
I will be at a long doctor's appointment. I won't be here. And just, Linda, I'm sure you're watching the NOPEC dollars, because that'll, some of it'll go to the project Kevin mentioned in the park there for the trail lighting.
Yep.
But,
we're
just to
waiting
see
to-
where we use it and the timing, since we had, and I know you had the last information, showing what was from which program year.
Mhm.
Okay. I think we've covered everything here. Kevin, no need for a work session, I hope, because I'm going to be out of pocket for a good part of next week.
No, we're fine.
Okay, any need for, or no audience, they've left, any need for an executive session?
No.
Nothing right now.
Okay, well then our next meeting will be on Tuesday, March 26th, and I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Lynch,
Yes.
Abraham,
Yes.
Yuri.
Yes.